Lesson, we want to show you how to use strong keywords to find great source information. Many of you are already doing this in terms of you're finding great information about how your product is made, but we want to challenge you to really focus in on the producer's wants and needs and finding great information about what life is like for a producer of your item. Today you're going to really focus in on this page, the producer's wants and needs in your research notes. So to start, we want to let you know that when you're citing source information in your research notes packet, before you start making your presentation, you need to cite at least 3 reliable sources. And that's not including Wikipedia or other websites that provide basic information like madehow.com. Some of you are using those websites to find basic information about the process of producing your item. We want to challenge you to make sure that you're finding at least 3 reliable sources that have an author and or a publisher. So that means if you're on YouTube, it needs to be a video that is actually published or is for example, from the Discovery Channel, but not just from a random username. Remember, you're trying to zoom in on what life is like for a producer. So it will probably help at this point to choose a specific company or place where your item is made. So I'm going to encourage you to stop here if you don't have that information yet, and try to zero in on a specific company. For example, it could be the largest producer of your item, the company that produces it in the largest quantity, or it could be a place where you know that your product is made. So for example, when I was starting out and I was Googling earbuds or where are earbuds made, one of the first articles that showed up is right here, The Secret Scam of Cheap Earbuds from Gizmodo. And Gizmodo is a blog, but this is still a reasonable place to start because I could see it's an article, it has an author. And as I was scrolling down, I was reading about the fact that earbuds are made very cheaply and that this is a scam. The author is arguing this is a scam for companies to make money. But what was interesting here was as I scrolled down, there were some advertisements, and it's not showing up right now, but I found this advertisement saying that showing earbuds being produced in a factory in Shenzhen, China. And so I Googled Shenzhen to try to find out more information and found that this is a city, it's a large city in China where many factories are located. It's close to Hong Kong. And so this is information I'm using as I'm going back to fill in my producer's wants and needs. I'm using this information about the place where I'm guessing that many of the factories producing earbuds are located. So if you're ready to move on, you have a specific company or place in mind. And we want to encourage you to fill in this chart using specific details. You need to have evidence to base your inferences on. And we really want you to put yourself in the shoes of a worker. So imagining that you are a worker working in a factory producing this product. So in the center here, I'm writing this worker I choose to work for a blank company in a factory in blank. Here I'm going to fill in the place, the city of Shenzhen, China, making blank dollars per hour. So at this point, I need to go off and do some more research about what life is really like for a worker. How much money do they make? How long do they work? What are their working conditions? And these are some of the questions we're encouraging you to ask. So you have Post-it notes corresponding to these colors. For example, when you're thinking about pay, if you were a worker in this factory, how much would you get paid? Would it cover your cost of living? I'm thinking about hours and breaks. How many hours would you work per day? How long and how frequent are your breaks? In terms of safety, what does the factory do to protect workers? Do kids work there? Is there child labor involved? And in terms of health and benefits, what other benefits would you receive as a worker in this factory? For example, in many factories in China, workers live in the factory in dormitories. What would happen if you got sick? And we want you to keep these Post-it notes on your producer's wants and needs page. This is going to help you to actually fill in the chart with more specific evidence to base your inferences on. So I've filled in my place name right here. I still haven't chosen a specific company. If I'm struggling to find information, I might decide For example, that I want to focus in on headphones made by, or earbuds made by Apple. Apple is a factory that, or Apple is a company that has many factories in Shenzhen, but I could fill that in later. For now, I'm focusing on imagining that I'm a worker in a factory in Shenzhen, China, and trying to fill in more specific information about my life. So we want you to think in terms of keywords that will be effective for searching. And the most important thing is to try different combinations until you find the information you're looking for. So you might try Googling the company name plus factory workers plus a place name, if you also know the place where the factory is likely to be located, plus any of these other terms: mass production, manufacturing, pay or wages, which is another term for pay, and here are some other options that you could try. So I'm starting with the place name of Shenzhen, China, factories, I'm adding factories, workers, and pay. I want to find information about how much workers are paid. So here are some articles that might be helpful to me. And I did go through and look at these. This article from The Economist, this is a very reliable source publication, talking about the future of Factory Asia and how conditions are changing for workers being paid a higher wage. This might have some information about the average wage that workers are paid in factories. And here's some other articles that I might try looking at. The average cost. So the average, it may be important for you if you can't find the specific information for your company or factory to find an average cost. How much are workers paid on average? What are conditions like for them in the factory? Okay, you ready to continue your research?